Today, we are talking about the proven Piper process for video marketing. And if you're riding here along with me, we want to make video marketing simple. We don't want it to be this black box that's overwhelming, that's confusing, that's frustrating. And the mission today is to share the exact techniques that we use to generate consistent quality inbound leads. This works for all different sorts of B2B service providers. It works for our own business. It works for our clients. And you're going to leave this training, this efficient training, with an idea of the different types of videos that you should make, how to make those videos better, and you should have a clear idea of the right next step, the next step to get going in your video marketing progression, whether you're starting with no videos, a couple crappy videos, start and stop video marketing strategy, or somewhere beyond that. You're going to hopefully have clarity on the right next step. The reason that you want to pay attention is because we know what we're doing. Piper Creative has been around for more than 7 years. We have over 400 clients that we've served and generate over 30 million views that have just on YouTube alone that have led to real engagement and real growth. So if you're ready, give us some love in the chat, and we will jump into it. 4 stages today. We're going to talk about definitions. We're going to talk about some key skills. We're going to talk about some best practices. And then we're going to connect it all to sales and revenue. The reason that we're so crazy about video, we've been crazy about video here at Piper for the last 7 years, is that it is continuing to become a larger and larger and larger share of all internet traffic. This isn't just Netflix going on in the evening after a long day. This is short form vertical video penetrating every single social media platform, from TikTok to YouTube to Instagram to even LinkedIn. And when we think about video being everywhere, the most important thing for us to understand, consider, and strategize around is having the right video in the right place to meet your prospect or potential client at the right stage of your sales funnel. Classic sales funnel awareness moves down to consideration, moves down to decision stage, and eventually, hopefully, into retention. When we make a video for the awareness stage, the goal is to say, I see and understand your problem. You notice I'm injecting very little I there. It's about you and your problem that I comprehend. And you've probably experienced this, where as soon as you start to maybe give a couple symptoms to a doctor, and then they can kind of rattle off the rest of the symptoms or the rest of the implications of things that you're feeling, you're like, wow, this doctor understands what's wrong with me. The same could be said of other advice that you, as a business owner, as a marketing director. When someone can expand upon and perfectly articulate the problem that you're facing, it immediately engenders trust. That's the awareness stage. The first touch point that is going to have the greatest effect with a prospect is showing them videos that serve that utility. Now, once you've engaged them at the awareness stage, they're going to start to lean in and say, what's going on here? Tell me more about what you have going on. That's the middle of the funnel. And that's where our videos need to engage at the consideration stage. We need to say, hey, that problem that you have, I've got a solution. So we both know that you have the problem. You're leaning in a little bit because I articulated your problem accurately, but now I am articulating a solution to the problem that you were either unaware of or maybe you're skeptical of, and I'm articulating there is a pathway out of this pain. And then finally, at the decision stage, I have moved you from the problem to the solution. At the decision stage, I am articulating that my solution is reliable, trustworthy, high quality. And maybe that's not necessarily the case if we're talking about you're a bargain basement store. We're not necessarily selling on quality. We might be selling on price, but we're articulating that the exact traits and characteristics of your offering. And if you're a B2B service provider, we don't want to be at a bargain basement price. We need to convey that there is a quality here. And usually that's through the form of testimonials, of case studies, of examples of your work that really prove that you know what you're doing and you aren't just talking about it. So whenever you're thinking about videos in the future, I want you to start with this framework in mind. Which video am I making? Where is this supposed to meet someone in the funnel? You're probably thinking, Aaron, what about retention stage? Well, retention can actually become its whole own expansive thing. And you really shouldn't be investing in retention until you've got the huge base of clients that you can upsell and turn into additional clients. But we know that's an important part of growing a business. Retention stage can be a couple of things. It can be a video saying, hey, I've got more solutions to your problems. So maybe I just gave you the book that was the diet plan, but I actually have nutrition services that will give you even more high touch, comprehensive nutrition planning than just basically getting a book and having to go implement it yourself. Or I could talk about how my solutions are improving. So we go from, hey, this is just an accountant pushing buttons or a videographer holding a camera to we have this additional editing service. We have this additional AI powered solution. We have these different pieces that just increase the quality of the output, expedite the turnarounds, all sorts of exciting things. And then finally, another thing you can do at the retention stage is talk about the adjacent problems. Well, if you have this problem, you probably have this problem that's right there next to it, right? We can also help to solve that problem. Those are all valid in the retention stage. We're not going to spend a ton of time there in this training, but if you want to talk about that more, you can reach out to us. The next thing that we need to talk about is the type of video. And I've already articulated here that we see these short form vertical videos on every single platform. And that's a big question that we get. Aaron, should we start with long form or short form video? What's the highest efficacy path for us if we're making videos and they're not working or we haven't made videos yet? And the exciting thing about this era of content is that the same video in the 30 to 60 to 90 second range, vertically oriented, so optimized for a mobile device held vertically to view, is now valid on all the different platforms. And we've seen this ourselves. The exact same video, you can put the work into it and it can go up on every single platform. Now, if you don't have a big audience there, it's not necessarily going to turn into some outsized result, but you have that capability in the present. So we like people starting off with short form video because of its ability to be deployed everywhere very easily and because it's less expensive to produce. If you think about a 30-second video versus a long form 9-minute video, even if it's just a talking head, one version is, no cuts, me just talking to the vertical camera versus me talking to the horizontal camera. It is by definition harder to produce 9 minutes of quality content than 45 seconds of it. Now, some people struggle with being brief, having that, fast, punchy delivery, but by making the short form videos, you'll actually build that skill and it will also apply to the longer form videos. Because it's less expensive to produce, we kind of think of this like being able to shoot a bunch of bullets as opposed to one big cannonball. If you're going to spend the time to make a long form video and write out your notes and come up with everything that you want to say, then that's a pretty large investment. You kind of really need that video to perform well. And if it doesn't, it feels like a ton of wasted energy. But if you try a short form video, it doesn't land, it's kind of more like an experiment, maybe to use a less violent metaphor, an experiment that really didn't have a huge cost, but you hopefully got a learning from. The other thing that we always think about when we think about what type of video should we make and where should we distribute it is basic Econ 101 supply and demand curves. Now, usually this is about the price of something. As the supply for something goes up, it gets less expensive. As the supply goes up, people demand it less. But on all of these social platforms, they have a similar ratio, which is just viewers to content. So in the very, very early days of TikTok, when most people didn't take it seriously, it wasn't known to be one of the very biggest platforms, you could post really crummy, mediocre videos and get a ton of reach there because there had been a ton of viewers. ByteDance was buying billions of dollars in ads annually to get users onto the platform, and there weren't that many videos, so the videos were spread to a lot of people. Now, as a content platform gets more saturated, the opportunity is realized, and more creators flood onto it, the content quantity goes up, which means that the viewers per video is going to go down. And on one hand, you could say, well, Aaron, it seems like it's pretty darn saturated these days. I would tell you that particularly on platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube, there is still a gap where there are viewers hungry for content and they are effectively running through the content that they find compelling to them. So there is an opportunity there to distribute that short form video. The reason short form video spreads so well is because of machine learning. So if we just take Instagram as an example, they used to have the feed, and the feed, this is actually a more modern version of the feed, but you can think of the old school feed as being like text with maybe an image, text with maybe a picture. And as you'd scroll it, you would pause midway and it would be like half of the bottom of one image and half of the top of another. And what that actually made it really difficult for the algorithm to do was to figure out, what are you paying attention to? What are you interested in here? Because when it's half of one post and half of the other, are they still reading the post and about to scroll away from it? Are they already captivated and they're only seeing a little bit of the bottom? There's no way for the device to know where your attention is. But on these short form vertical videos, the reason they are so transformative is because that video takes up every inch of real estate on the screen. And so anything you do there, from spending more time to looking at comments to deciding to like, to share, to any sort of interaction, that is telling them that this video is engaging to you. And that's what these platforms ultimately want, right? They want more viewers to stick around. They want those viewers to be engaged. They want their dopamine receptors to go off with some sort of regular cadence so that they stick around on this platform, look at the ads on this platform versus the alternative. And so if you can keep people stimulated, keep people engaged with a short form video because you're speaking to their problem, back to that awareness stage video idea, if you can do that, you are going to be rewarded by these platforms because that is what they're after. The other expression here, and this is basically, we are moving from a social graph to an interest graph. And this is a post that one of the Kardashians or Jenners made when Instagram started to make this transition into the videos. And they were frustrated because the Kardashians had racked up tens of millions, hundreds of millions of followers, and were used to putting pretty simple, basic pictures of, oh, look, I put makeup on, and that being distributed for free to millions and millions and millions of people. And that's why they got these huge influencer deals. They built big companies. But as soon as the algorithm was able to say, on a post by post basis, I know exactly how engaging this is, it started to reallocate the power of these platforms very much towards the algorithm, but also towards the small creator being able to compete with a large, maybe there's not a Kardashian in your industry, but there might be other large players. And, I can use a personal example here. I have my personal networks, right? And this is old school Facebook, right? Your friends, the people that you went to high school with, the people that you went to college with, the people at the company that you work at. These are social graphs, social networks based off of proximity and your social group. What it transitions to is an interest graph as opposed to a social graph, an interest-based network where I go to YouTube for business and marketing content. I watch parenting reels on Instagram. I watch NBA highlights when I go to Twitter. And I'm following this topic more so than an individual. And so if someone new makes an exceptional business and marketing YouTube video, I'm going to end up seeing it because YouTube understands I'm interested in this topic and are open to high videos that are highly engaging to me there. And I might get recommended it and might end up watching someone new as opposed to just the people that I follow. So what that means for you is you need to identify the interest graph that you are targeting. This is defined by an ideal audience member and what they would be interested in, the problems that they have at the awareness stage. You need to study other creators in that interest graph and then make content that is exclusively aimed at that community or that psychographic. The old days of being like, hey, look at me, I'm kind of acting like a celebrity. Did you know that I like this food and I like this sports team and that there's this whole lifestyle aesthetic? There are some characters that can still get away with that, but that is not the strategy for success, particularly for B2B service providers. Now, once you make these short form videos, you can then use the intelligence from the short form videos that you create to blow out and expand and build long form videos. That's what this creator, Cody Sanchez, did. She's way, way bigger now. But this is an old case study from about a year ago where her shorts blew up. She took the shorts that were most performing and turned those into her long form videos. She had higher confidence that she could make the investment into that longer form video because of the data from her shorts that validated their performance. This is the basic formula for one of the shorts that I want you to produce. An open hook. The opening hook is the first things that you say. This is the 80-20. This is the headline of the newspaper. This is what grabs the person's attention. This is where you either speak to the problem, you connect the problem to the solution, or if you're making decision stage content, talk about the solution in great detail. I would say just start with acknowledging the problem. How well do you articulate and illustrate that problem being understood by you in the first thing that you say. No word wasted, as clear and simple as possible. Then bring it into a lesson, bring it into a story, bring it into an anecdote, and finally a close. Now, it could just be a brief close, or it could be a call to action like follow me or reach out to me, but only one call to action. Don't say follow me and reach out to me if you want to work together and check out my next video. More than one call to action is zero calls to action. It's going to tank your engagement. It's going to be a really, really poor performing video. So let's get into the actual proven process that allows us to get results consistently with video. The starting point, as I've alluded to earlier, is you have to identify your ideal audience member. If you are an estate planning lawyer in a specific geography, then your ideal audience member is parents, grandparents of a certain net worth in a certain geography who are thinking about their legacy, their inheritance, their family, these types of considerations. Those are the problems that you have to speak to in every single video. Every single video has to be speaking to that ideal audience member. Once you have that ideal audience member defined, you then need to brainstorm over, I would say, start with at least 20 opening hooks that would reach them. This isn't the entire video. This is just, do I think this would grab that person's attention? Do I think this would grab that person's attention? Yes or no? Once we have those hooks ready, we then batch shoot 10 of those videos. Do the hook, give the lesson, the anecdote, whatever, tight close, shoot them all in one go. Don't worry too much about changing your outfit. Don't worry about that. Most people aren't paying attention. Have those videos edited for pacing. We don't want long pauses. We don't want them to move slowly. Particularly at the beginning, they need to move with pace. Then we publish them everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, everywhere, to give it the greatest chance of reaching the most amount of people. Once it has been distributed, we collect the data on what spurred engagement, what hooks were good, what hooks were bad, what topics did people seem interested in, what topics did they not really care about. And then we start again at step 2, but using the intel and the experience of what you've learned. And this is not this is not 20 brand new opening hooks. You can reuse the same hook. I have a friend who has sold millions of dollars in cosmetics with thousands of TikToks. Said it was mostly 4 hooks that he just recycled and used over and over and over and over and over again. You're using the intel to know which of those hooks to recycle and which ones to let go. But you have to be shameless about being willing to reuse that hook again and again and again. This is the proven process that will make your content better than 99% of the competition. We like putting it up on YouTube because YouTube has the most robust data for us to study about the videos that we've produced. This is something called an average view duration graph. This is for a long form video. You can see that on average, 17.9% of the video was viewed. That means that about 6 minutes and 40 seconds were viewed of the video on average. Most videos follow this exact same curve, where in the intro, a bunch of people decide whether or not they're going to give it a chance. But once they settle in, you've probably seen this in your own behavior, once they settle into watching, way less likely to leave. It flattens out and you kind of retain people on a very slow downward gradient curve over time. Your job is to make that initial descent, what's the opposite of steep, as shallow as possible, and then retain people throughout. Don't do anything that gets them to all leave all at once. So you can study this data and say, wow, was this or was this not a good intro? And then, wow, did saying this one thing get everyone to leave? Guess I'm not going to say that anymore, or I'm going to say it differently if it's an important point. That's the insight that we're looking to get from our videos. That was the long form. This is a short form video. Trying to figure out how long this video was originally. Looks like about 2 minutes. You can see that on average, people watch it for 46 seconds. At least 50% were still watching it after about 5 seconds or so, which is half decent. Your short form video is going to be at the awareness stage. As people move down the funnel and are strongly considering working with you, you have more permission for a longer form video. You could still make it short form throughout. This entire thing could be short form if you wanted it to be. But as someone is leaning more and more in, and you've now acknowledged their problem, shown that there's a compelling solution, and then when I'm actually making the decision on a purchase, particularly if it's an expensive purchase, I'm willing to spend some time on a review, right? I don't know if you guys ever watched the tech reviews where they review, smartphones and headphones and other pieces of technology. that might be a multi-$1,000 purchase. That might be at least hundreds of dollars a purchase for like an Apple Watch or something. I'm willing to watch a long form video that actually reviews it and talks through everything. But that is when I'm at the decision stage, or at least the late consideration stage. I'm certainly not doing that at just an awareness stage. That is when I'm actually thinking about, am I willing to make this purchase? You think about your content in the exact same way. Where do these videos go? There's public and controlled spots. So public social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, even Twitter, X, whatever it's called now. Those are all public. All your awareness videos go on all of those platforms. Controlled could be on your website. It could be back in a learning management system. It could be a Vimeo. It could be some sort of control, maybe just via email. Those are more so for your decision stage content and maybe your retention stage content for existing clients. Maybe sometimes if you're real, like we work with people who are in specialized, like, testing of animal products, and they're sensitive to like PETA and other issues like that. They may keep more stuff gate kept, but they still need something publicly making it apparent that they can help people in that space. Maybe that's just not going to be their go-to-market strategy. In that case, they'll have more controlled video assets. But for most people, all of this should be public, and someone should be able to basically take themselves down the content funnel as far as possible to wanting to do business without you. This is the magic of video yet again. In addition to it being what most people consume, video is like thousands of small clones working on your behalf, gathering attention, storytelling, selling, positioning you so that you can actually spend more of your time on the highest leverage, highest impact work, whatever that may be for your industry. If you're trying to think about how to use other videos in your sales funnel, after a new lead actually fills out a form, so this would still kind of be the consideration stage, a great thing to send is an intro video. Hey, just here's who we are, what we do, here's what to expect on our first call. Then after the first call is sent, you could send them relevant client testimonials. I really like this, where if it's specific to their needs, maybe coming back to the estate planning, if it's an elderly couple versus a younger couple, trying to give them a client testimonial or a client experience that's relevant to their case in some way, shape, or form. And then after a close, video doesn't have to be over. Video doesn't have to be over. We can think about retention strategies now of an onboarding handoff. It can even be a real simple like selfie video on your phone. Hey, so glad that you're doing business with us. Excited to work together. Just so you know, here's what's coming next. This is ways that videos will impact the bottom line of your business, allow you to save a bunch of time on net, and can influence revenue in a really meaningful way. I want to leave on this note. Compound interest is a big idea for people that get into saving and personal finance. Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Video works the same way. A library of videos compounds on your behalf. Skills in video production and video marketing compound, and they work on top of one another and do more and more and more for you as the time goes by. I can remember on my YouTube channel when I was excited for days where we would get 100 or 200 views in a single day. Because in my mind, I was like, that's like multiple classrooms worth of people. And now on my YouTube channel, we get in the neighborhood of 40,000 views a day on like a decent day. We've had plenty of days way bigger than that. And that is just from the skill compounding and the library of content compounding, reaching more people, more opening hooks, more different types of content, meeting people where they are. So I encourage you to try it. I encourage you to try this process for yourself. If you need any help with it, you can reach out to us. I'm Aaron at pipercreative.co. Always looking to help people get their video marketing up and running. We have a ton of different solutions for folks, from editing to full production to just content strategy. You can reach out to us. Appreciate your attention. Hope you have a lovely day.